What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to That Car Vlog channel. If you don't already know, I'm Andy, and today I've got a bit of an update for one of my old cars. So if we rewind to August of last year, 2019, right around the beginning of the month, I traded a 1996 Kia Sportage, Gen 1 Sportage, for this 94 Dakota that I'm in right now. And the day that I traded it was supposed to be the last video I've ever made about that car. Well, I've got one more for you today. I found that thing. I came across it last week. Today is what, August 29? So 1 week ago I came across it, and it wasn't exactly a great occasion. But before I talk about what happened, or what I found anyways, so we'll talk about the car for anybody who may not be familiar. Back in March of 18, we got our when we had our tax refund, I went and I picked up my 1996 Kia Sportage. Once again, a first generation. It was like the third model year of the car, and I think maybe the second year, maybe fourth model year, second year in the States, I think, if I'm remembering the facts right. And this was a great little car, and this is one you don't see, at least I didn't see very often. It had the 5-speed manual transmission. It had the 2.0 liter 4-cylinder dual overhead cam that they all have. It's 4-wheel drive, 4 doors. You could have also gotten a 2-door soft top version, much like a Geo Tracker, but mine was the 4-door. And I actually really kind of liked that car. It was a really good ride. I think I got it with 130-some thousand miles on it. That being, at the time, a 22-year-old car. And that thing did me really good. Even though it had a few quirks, it had a transmission that would grind into second and third gear. I think synchros were out or something. I'm sure the synchro was gone, so it had that, but I learned how to double clutch on that thing. As a matter of fact, I mastered the manual transmission on that thing. Up until then, I'd only driven them just a handful of times. Never had actually owned something that I could get out and really get it down. So I actually bought that thing because it was a manual, and it was at a decent price. I paid $1,000 for it, because I decided if I'm gonna know for once and for all how to drive a manual and be a car enthusiast with a channel and want to drive a bunch of different cars, maybe I should know how to drive a manual. Plus, I always wanted to, so I bought that. I bought it because my 76 Chevy C10 head gasket failure turned it into a project. There's no way I could daily drive that thing anymore. I'd done it for 4 straight years. It had to come off the road, so I had to get something else. So that's why I got it. Now, like I said, it got us through a lot. It got us through both CVT transmission failures on our 2012 Nissan Quest in the year that we had that van. So it also, if anyone happens to remember the 2001 Dodge Durango RT that I reviewed on the channel, that was actually also a family vehicle, belonged to my wife's mom and stepdad, and I was allowed to drive it, and I also reviewed it. Really enjoyed making that review. It was really cool, fun truck to drive around in. But what ended up happening was the transmission died in it. And although we did manage to get it up the hill to our driveway, up our road, I still had to pull it the rest of the way up the driveway into its parking spot. And the Sportage is what did that. And I think that Durango weighs in at like anywhere between 4,500 and 5,000 pounds. So a very heavy truck, and the Sportage did it decent enough to get it through the driveway. It also pulled my Chevy, my C10, from one part of the driveway to another part so I could get up under the carport. That thing really proved to be a lot stronger than I thought it was going to be. Granted, I didn't pull a car down a highway with it, never really did any towing, but it did really well. And once again, an old vehicle of mine pulls my family through a problem with a modern vehicle. I'm really happy about that thing. I daily drove it for a year and a half, or just about a whole year and a half. There towards the end, I was driving the work truck home and didn't really have to drive the Sportage all that much. But just all around, it was a great car. If I'd been able to keep it, I probably eventually would have turned it into an off-road toy, because although I don't know for sure, I have a hunch that four-wheel drive system is really good on those. I mean, I've dropped it to four-wheel drive, and that's how I pulled those trucks through the driveway. Absolutely love it. Did a few things to it. Put about $500 into a timing belt and water pump service. Got that taken care of. So the engine, I mean, has a timing belt, water pump, and pulleys that are maybe a little over a year and a half old. I put an aftermarket radio in it, which I tend to do on my cars. Really, that's not a lot. That's about it. I mean, I took it and tried some windy roads, and of course it didn't do it. It didn't do good. It's a little SUV. Made several videos with it. Really enjoyed it. It's a little small for me. You know, when I sit in the driver's seat of that thing, I feel it out. I'm a big guy. But once again, really liked the car. Power driver's side window failed. And I kind of spec'd out an old 90s vehicle. I actually had to find the power window relay and jump a couple of the contacts where it plugs in order for my power windows to work. They wouldn't work. I could not diagnose why they weren't working, and I didn't want to mess with it, so I just grabbed a piece of wire, put some ends on it, and jumped the two connections, and I had power windows even when the car was turned off. Anyhow, now for the sad news. A week ago, I was driving down Clinton Highway, which is a 4-lane highway that goes from Knoxville up into Clinton, Tennessee. Except I was going into Knoxville, going the other way. And we have this do-it-yourself auto parts scrapyard, Lambert's Auto Parts, along Clinton Highway. It's not as nice as Pull Apart, where, you know, everything's jacked up on rims and they're parked in rows and it's all nice and neat. You know, it's all laid in there like a junkyard, except the only cars stacked on top of each other are the ones that just came out of the crusher. But as I drove by, they actually have a secondary smaller lot that used to be owned by somebody else, that they bought and turned into Lambert's Pick Apart. I guess, you know, they wanted to distinguish themselves. And it's where all the imports go that they take in. So I'm driving by Pick Apart, 55 mile an hour, and out of the corner of my eye, I see what looks like the rear end of a first-gen Sportage in green. And I thought, there's no way. That cannot, you know, that's not my car, you know. There ain't no way. So I went on up the road. I needed to buy gas. I got my gas. I turned around and went back to Pick Apart. And I pulled off the side of the road, right in front of their entrance. They were closed. And I got out and started looking around. And sure enough, it was my car. And, or at least I thought, you know, okay, every sign points to this being my car. So, real quick, here is a video that I took on my phone. I immediately got my phone out and started filming, walking around the thing. There's sketchy entrance that shouldn't be walked around in flip-flops, but I did it anyways. And here's just a walk around of the car. You see its condition. No idea what actually happened to the thing. I'd love to know, because it's really got my brain like in a tizzy. I'm like, what in the world happened to this thing? It's the weirdest thing. Anyway, here's the video. Okay, so I don't know if this will ever make it to an actual video or not, but I had to show this. I was driving down Clinton Highway into Knoxville to go do things, whatever. And here I spot the rear end of this Kia Sportage outside this scrapyard. And so I thought, oh my God, is that my truck? Like, is that my car that I just traded for my Dakota over there? So I've been walking around this thing very carefully because I'm in flip-flops and God only knows what's in this gravel. And right there, Auto Solutions, a dealer, you know, vanity plate thingamajig, the dealer that I traded my Sportage into. This thing is the exact same color. I can't tell the wheels. There's no more wheels on it. There's no more roof on it. It's the same color. I've walked around. There's a few spots, like a rust spot behind the left rear wheel that looks the same. The tire carrier looks the same. I think the radio inside is the one that I put in it. And I got a close-up of the odometer, and I'm pretty sure that's the miles that were on it. And honestly, just to look around this thing, I mean, a lot of these body blemishes, like that spot right there, I think I remember. This grill was already cracked up, and there's that old faded Kia logo. The headlights were never that great anyways. I think this is my car. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna find the paperwork from where I bought it and look through some old videos and verify against the VIN plate. But I think this is my car. I traded this thing a year ago for my Dakota. I've never found one of my old cars before. And oh God, if this is my car, I'm gonna be so sad. I'm already sad because I really did like this thing. I wish I could have kept it. Now there's the bumper from something else, whatever got into the accident from. There's the ripped up passenger side headrest, exactly like my car. The little door pull handle thing is missing from the door panel. That thing popped out all the time. In fact, the window even kind of is tilted. It's skewed on the driver's side. Mine was messed up. You know, the motor was going bad. So, guys, I think this is my car. I'll know for sure once I check against videos and, like I said, the paperwork from when I bought it, because I'm pretty sure I still have it. But see, it's a manual right there. You don't see a lot of these in a manual. These first-gen Sportages, especially the earlies. I haven't anyway. Most of them I've seen personally are automatics. But this thing is this exact same spec as my car. That green color, that tan interior, a manual. Four-wheel drive, I think. Let's see if I can find the four-wheel drive lever. Yep, right there. There's a four-wheel drive lever. This is the exact spec. There's even the cigarette lighter laying in the console where I left it. Because I think this is my car. I'm going to go home and I'm going to verify. But I think this is my old car. Which means if I ever get another Kia Sportage, it ain't going to be my old one. Alright, as you can see from the video, if you know my Sportage from the channel, or you know it because you might be family or friends who've seen it, then that's definitely my car. I took a picture of the VIN plate on the dash, which was actually quite easy. With no windshield, I just kind of reached over the hood and took a picture of the VIN plate on the dash. And I took it home and found the paperwork from when I bought this truck. And it lists the trade-in, it lists the Sportage and its color and mileage and VIN, and compared them, and that settled it. It's my car. Perfect VIN match. Just could not believe it. And to walk around the car, as you can clearly see in the video, it doesn't have any more wheels. All 5 wheels have been removed. The ones on the ground plus the spare. The shifter boot is gone. A little plastic insert in the driver door that never stayed in anyway is gone, but that doesn't matter. The hood's a little bit buckled. I'm not really sure what happened to that. I thought the headlight was damaged, but then I remember that driver's side headlight was always loose right next to the grill. Never really got in there and figured that out. It probably needed a new headlight, a new mount, something, I don't know. But I never fixed it. It never really bothered me. The car looks, it's weird. It's almost undamaged, except the fact that there's no roof. Now, you might think, okay, rollover. Somebody drove it, they cornered too hard, and they rolled it. It's a small, narrow, and yet kind of high SUV. And if you corner too hard or cut the wheel too sharp too quickly, I'm sure you probably could roll those things. But if you look around and you pay attention, both side view mirrors are still there. Now, the glass on the driver's side mirror is broken, but it's still there, and the whole mirror assembly is still in place on both sides. Although, both sides are severely scratched up along the doors. It's got a little bit more damage to the driver's side fender than it had when I had it. And the weird thing is, the doors are still there and fully intact. In a rollover, you think they flip the car over. If they can't open the doors, they take the jaws of life, they just start cutting things off. They don't, the doors aren't even going to be opened. And yet there's four fully intact doors on this car. And yet the roof has been cut off at all 6 pillars, or 8, I should say. All 8 pillars. The windshield's busted out of it. Side windows on the back are busted out. It doesn't have a hatch, obviously, because that attaches to the roof. So it makes me wonder what happened. Did a tree fall on it? Did they need the roof for another Sportage, maybe a rollover Sportage? I don't know. It's very strange. I was able to get into the glove box to see, because once again I was looking for clues as to whether or not it was my car. I didn't remember, maybe I left something in there that would have told me that it was my car just before I confirmed it. I opened the glove box, there's the registration in there. Somebody in Rocky Top, Tennessee, which is formerly, I don't forget the name of it, formerly Lake City, Tennessee, bought this car, had to have bought it from Auto Solutions, the dealership in Maryville, Tennessee, that I bought it from. Now, those who know East Tennessee, Greater Knoxville area, know that's a bit of a drive. But just put it in perspective, where I live in Clinton, it's about 30 minutes to Maryville, 35, 40 to that dealership. And then you're talking another 45 at least, I would say, 30, 45 minutes, about 45 minutes to Rocky Top if you're able to jump right on the interstate and go up there. So whoever bought it went a little bit out of their way to buy that cheap car. Of course, I don't know how much Auto Solutions sold it for. I never really checked the website after I bought this, because I had this. I really didn't actually care. I know that Auto Solutions gave me $400 for this one. I don't imagine them selling that thing for more than about $1,000, maybe $1,300 to $1,500, which it would have been worth. But that's it. That's the absolute final update that will ever be on my old 96 Sportage. And, I've never found one of my old cars before. Now, if you want to get technical, my wife and I, in 2015, got into a 2000 Ford Taurus. And then 2 years later, in 17, a problem arose. I misdiagnosed it. Engine blew up. We had to scrap it. 2 Lamberts, actually. That same scrap yard. And I went back a little while later trying to find something for another vehicle. And it was there. I found it, but I knew it was there, so that doesn't really count. But this is the first time I've ever found one of my old cars without knowing where it was. And I cannot believe that I had to find it in this condition. That was actually kind of a sad day for me. But that's that. I mean, rest in peace, Sportage, man. That was a good car. I don't know what other people's experience have been with their Sportages, but I imagine they're pretty awesome. That thing really did us well, and I'm sad that its life had to end like that, because it's still 160,000 miles. It's still under 200,000, and it's 24 years old. But that's it. You know, it's gone. Rest in peace, Sportage, man. I can't believe it. Anyways, that's going to do it for this one. I'm sorry it's a bit of a downer, but for anybody that followed the Sportage or follows my cars, I thought y'all would like to hear what happened to that. You know, be kind of interested to see what happened. I found it out, I got to make a video. If for some reason you enjoyed this video, not that I really enjoyed making it or discovering the car that way. Anyways, if you liked it, or at least if you like my videos, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you'll know when another video goes up. There's all kinds of videos I've got in the works for this thing here. I just recently put up both videos doing the shocks on this thing, so go check those out. That was interesting. This will probably come out after my 1-year ownership review, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out. Otherwise, make sure to follow on Facebook and Instagram at that car vlog channel. Every once in a while I might put something up there. I definitely put up whenever a new video goes live, so definitely go follow me there. Once again, subscribe, ring the bell, and be on the lookout for more things to come. Y'all have a good one now.